Bring it on.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Do you want the whole truth? I don't think you're ready.
Governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people.
It's Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Here comes the truth.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're glad you're here, right here on the AFR Talk Network. I'm Crane Durham. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Want to get in the game right now? Check out the Facebook page, American Family Radio, Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. A lot to get to today, devolving situation in Egypt, and we will be speaking with Ryan Mauro from the Clarion Project, clarionproject.org. We will be speaking with him a little later on this hour. We will be covering the issue of why is it that when the military restores order against the Muslim Brotherhood and the acts of terror that they are committing and violence, that the Muslim Brotherhood responds by attacking Christians. We'll ask Ryan that question, as well as his evaluation of our response. First, we go to Hillary Clinton, though. Hillary Clinton looks to be running for president. Thank you, Captain Obvious, Crane Durham. I'm glad you arrived. And part of that is to give speeches to make sure that people in the core of her support, left-wing liberals, know that she's serious, that she is the real deal. So speaking to the American Bar Association yesterday, Hillary did not disappoint, criticizing the Voting Rights Act decision, the Shelby County versus Eric Holder decision, which saw a liberal justice, in fact, strike down elements of the Voting Rights Act that were clearly outdated. That said, Hillary Clinton took aim at not only that decision, but she also took aim at history in 2004 and voter ID. Roll it.
A forum in Cleveland after the 2004 election with my friend, the late Congresswoman Stephanie Tubbs Jones. There were reports of African Americans waiting in line to vote for 10 hours, while whites in affluent precincts next door waited just 10 minutes. African Americans received flyers telling them the wrong time and day to vote. Students from Kenyon College told us they had to wait half a day to cast their votes. In 2013, so far, more than 80 bills restricting voting rights have been introduced in 31 states. Now, not every obstacle is related to race, but anyone who says that racial discrimination is no longer a problem in American elections must not be paying attention.
Peter Kirsnow has written extensively on this. Now, he served on the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, evaluating those elections. He's a tremendous resource, in fact, because he addresses the myths that she was just peddling. And unfortunately, there's greater context to them. In fact, in Ohio, yes, they had a greater turnout and there were longer lines, but they did not find that it was race-specific in racial-specific communities. Of course, they did find that President Bush actually doubled his support among African Americans. But that all said, this is peddling the myth of victimology. We'll get to the topic of opposition to President Obama and liberalism being classified as racist, and we'll be taking your calls at the bottom of the hour. Hillary Clinton was asked about missiles and arms going through Benghazi to Syria, a covert program. She was asked about this by Rand Paul in a hearing regarding Benghazi earlier this year. Now, here's part of that exchange. Roll it.
You know, I'm concerned about surface-to-air missiles obviously being in the hands of Islamic radicals, but I'm also concerned, was Hillary Clinton telling the truth, or was she simply saying, well, maybe it's classified, maybe I won't tell the truth? I don't think our public officials should come before a committee and not tell the truth. She has said she had no information about this. The New York Times has reported that she was the largest and most vocal advocate of arming the Syrian rebels. I find it hard to believe. The New York Times has also reported that the CIA has been involved with procuring arms to the Islamic rebels in Syria for over a year. What was the CIA annex doing there? Why have we had no discussion of that so far? And
was she not telling the truth?
I don't know. See, the thing is, I think she needs to be deposed again. I think Chairman Issa.
Bring her back?
I can't because we don't control any committees. But in the House,
you would like to see her come back.
I have asked specifically to have her brought back, and I hope Chairman Issa will bring her back. She needs to testify under oath. Did she know about this? And did it have anything to do with the misdirection campaign? And did she have anything to do with not allowing the Marines to go aid their wounded brothers over there in Benghazi?
All very good questions. That was not the Hillary testimony. In fact, we are saving that for Buzz Jacobs, the co-director of Benghazi 9/11, Benghazi9-11.com. He will join us a little later on this hour to talk about those reports and some extraordinary claims regarding 400 surface-to-air missiles that have gone missing. We'll ask Buzz about that. But let's find out what Rand Paul, who looks to be running for president, thinks about Hillary Clinton running for president. Would she make a good president? Roll it.
You know, I think her decision-making process with regards to Benghazi should preclude her from holding high office, because really it's not so much what happened at the time of the attacks. For 6 months leading up to the attacks, they asked and they asked and they pleaded for more security, and she says, oh, I never read the cables. The problem with that is that that's her job. You know, Libya is one of the most dangerous places on earth, and she's saying, oh, I don't read the cables from the ambassador. I think that's inexcusable.
So the campaign heats up, but let's not diminish the points that are made. We still don't know the truth about what happened in Benghazi. We do know that the president knowingly misled the American people, lied. We know that because of what he has said contradicts the record. We also know and have been made aware of that by the likes of 60 Minutes releasing and delaying that release of what he determined the attack to be, and not calling it a terrorist attack. But he said in the debate he did call it a terrorist attack. I know, exactly. There's the lie. 5 news shows saying it was the movie. You get it. The scandal's not going away. In fact, we're learning more and more about it. Buzz Jacobs will be here to answer those questions. And speaking of questions, why is it that we supported the Muslim Brotherhood? Why is it that we supported an organization that has outlined 30 years ago their plan to use the political as well as the route of violence to power and implement Sharia law? Why would we welcome that and think that they were going to abide by the rule of law and protect the freedoms of others who happen to not agree with them, rather than what they did, which was run roughshod on the Constitution laid out in Egypt and ran it like a dictatorship? With that in mind, the military removed the Muslim Brotherhood, Mohammed Morsi. We didn't call it a coup. We did call it a coup. We would call it a restoration of democracy. We always speak to democracies, but certainly we can't be that naive and short-sighted to say one election and it's democracy, and after that, pretty much, no matter how corrupt, we can say, oh, they have elections. Well, we do know that former premiers of Russia got 99.9% of the vote, and they had elections. We get it. But now a situation has developed where the Muslim Brotherhood, after terrorizing Christians and members of the community that did not support Mohammed Morsi and were supportive of the military has struck back, and it's caused a great deal of violence. John Kerry addressed that violence today. Find out what he had to say, and find out what Ryan Morrow has to say about what's happening in Egypt right now. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk.